Is this the right time to bottom fish any of the Adani Group stocks? The short answer is no, you shouldn't be doing it right at this moment. But if you want to know why you should not be doing and when it may be the right time to bottom fish any of the Adani Group stocks, keep watching. So why I don't recommend Adani Group stocks bottom fishing right at this moment is because there is a high amount of volatility. Like on Adani Enterprises on 3rd February on Friday, I saw a low of around 1017 and high of above 1600. And that's a 60% move on a very large stock. That's too much volatility. Similarly on Adani Ports, a low of below 400 and a high of above 500. So that's also too much of volatility to handle for any of small investors like us. So I don't think this is the right time for anyone to bottom fish any of the Adani Group stocks. The second reason why I don't recommend bottom fishing right at this moment is because first you should believe that it's not the report that has made the crash in the Adani Group stocks. The report was about the findings of any individual or a company for any other individual or a company or a group of companies. But that report was also there was a counter report by Adani answering all those queries, a 13-page report. So that didn't lift the Adani Group sentiments. So then there are certain informations in those reports which some of the investors may have agreed on, others may not agree on. So it's the report that triggered the crash on an Adani Group stocks. So now once a trigger happens, then the sentiments needs to be revised. There are lots of building processes. Like let's say if somebody is accusing somebody of very high loans, then if the loans are not high, the payment, the repayment, everything on time for say 3, 4, 5 quarters, and then people will understand that the report was not right, and Adani is able to make the payments on the loan. Similarly, if there is a default on any loan, then people would be on the other side of the fence. So the process of building the trust among the investors, reducing the volatility, it should go out of news, and then the business should take the priorities. The share market should subside its volatility. That's the time when you should be looking to bottom fish. Yes, you may not be able to get the stock at a very low price, but it would be at a good value price where you will not see too much of a downside and the potential for upside may be higher. Again, for that you have to understand the balance sheet. You have to understand the process of rebuilding the companies, the process of repaying the loans, the process of foreign investors disclosures, or whatever the allegations are. Slowly but surely those allegations will go out of picture or may not remain valid anymore, because let's say even a 413-page reply that Adani Group gave for that Hindenberg report, and the Hindenberg itself confirmed that out of 88 allegations, 66 were not answers. So it means that 22 were answers as per their expectation. So now other 66 will get its due course of time and they will be answered, and that is the time when you should be bottom fishing. The third reason why you should not bottom fish Adani Group stocks right at this moment is because you are looking for someone who can tell that yes, you should bottom fish, and then you are bottom fishing. That's not how it works. You should be able to understand the market. You should be able to understand the balance sheet, cash flows, businesses. Let's say if any one of the Adani Group companies was to liquidate right now, what is the amount that you will get? I see many experts on TV, they share that I don't want to name a company, but let's say the market cap of that company is 50,000 crores. 15,000 crore is cash in that company, 10,000 crore is investment. So you are getting that company at a valuation which is almost 5, 6, 7 times or 10 times its earnings. I just couldn't understand a expert on TV is telling things like those. And then the anchor was trying to tell the expert that you should not be speaking those kind of things, and he wanted to shift focus from that expert. But let's say you are not considering the amount of debt the company has, and I can understand why they are saying it that way, because they assume that the operations of the business will service the debt, and they are only considering the assets in the business. There are liabilities as well. What if the company or the group is not able to pay the debt? What if the operations falter for next 1 year? What happens when there are 3 or 4 bad quarters? So those are the risks that are involved, and market is reacting to those risks. As those risks subside, the real price discovery of the share will happen. It will not move 20, 30, 40% or 60% in a day. And that is when you can look for business and bottom fish. Bottom fishing doesn't happen when the market is crashing. Bottom fishing happens when the market stops crashing in the first place. You have to see that say 2 or 3 weeks Adani Group or any of the Adani company hasn't moved much, and that is when the buyers and sellers are coming at a price. The buyers are willing to buy at that price, the sellers are willing to sell at that price as well, and sellers are not mad of selling it at any price. Buyers are also not mad to buy at any price, and that is when the actual price discovery will happen, and that is the point when you should consider them. Right now it's not even the time to even think about it. The best thing that you can do is you can learn what is happening. There are two groups who are fighting for survival. One of them is saying the valuation is 90% will crash. Other is saying that no, we have a great business. And the best way to learn is the best way to view this episode is to learn like how a group can be attacked from a foreigner group with a report, and how short sellers are targeting a group, how the group is responding. Like FPO has been cancelled by Adani Enterprise. They could have gone through the FPO, but this is the process of trust building. They want to build trust for the investors. They want to build trust of their those who have given them debt, and so there will be some payments to them. The regular payments will go through, the confidence will return, and that is the time when you should consider, if you want to consider those stocks for investing. The next reason why you should not be bottom fishing any of the Adani Group stocks is the failure of FPO or withdrawal of FPO. Like FPO was done because they wanted to raise cash from the market and pay off the debt that was there in their books. So now FPO hasn't gone through, they will not be getting those money. So now the process of paying off the debt will take a little longer as well. So now we have to see how the payment of debt happens, and then it would be right time to consider for bottom fishing. The last and the final point why you should not consider Adani Group stocks once again is high debt. Like in one of the business checklist that I have is I never prefer investing in companies that have high debts, because debt is the only reason where any company has gone out of business. Finally, I will suggest not to bottom fish any of the Adani Group stocks, because each of the business has very high debt. Debt is one of the criteria that I look for when investing. I have shared multiple times in my business checklist. So once a company has very high debt, they are often working for the bank rather than the business working for them. So you should always consider how the debt will be serviced, how effectively the group can service the debt, what are the debt in the books, what is the debt that they are raising. A group or a company can always raise the debt, but that will not make them say a bigger business, because all the cash flow that the business would be generated will be taken away by bank. At times you will require that, and that can be taken or given back. That's altogether a different thing. But once you borrow the life from the future, you may look rich, but then your cash flows will be depleted for the banks. That's why always look at debt with a pinch of salt. And once Adani Group has a high amount of debt, I may not be bottom fishing into it. Are you looking to bottom fish any of the Adani Group stocks? Share them in comments below.